They buried you shallow, your light was never meant to stay hidden. My child, they dug graves. But you bloomed louder. Their silence was the soil your roots split open. You didn't rise to be seen. You rose because heaven pulled. They tried to bury your name, now it echoes through their bones. My child, they cracked the earth trying to cover your flame. You are the seed their envy watered by accident. The dirt didn't kill you, it crowned you. You are the bloom they never thought would survive. Their hands held shovels. Yours held eternity. You didn't escape. You became uncontainable. My child, they buried glory. It erupted anyway. They dug to silence you, but unearthed themselves. Your glow made graves feel like doorways. My child, even the darkness couldn't hold your name. They buried a breath. You returned as thunder. You rose, not as revenge, but as proof. They planted you in rage. You grew in peace. My child, the roots whispered your memory. The shovels broke before your soul did. They tossed dirt. But light caught you first. My child, they covered your flame, but couldn't survive its echo. You outlived every lie whispered under their breath. The deeper they buried, the louder you became. You are their unfinished chapter, and it burns. My child, they didn't bury you. They exposed the altar. They thought it was your grave. It became your stage. Even the worms paused for your rising. My child, your silence cracked the tomb. They built the pit, but you carried wings. What they covered, heaven crowned. You were not hidden, you were being heeded. My child, the ground still shivers from your bloom. They thought they'd seen the last of you. You grew through their curses like gold through stone. My child, your roots remember everything. They tried to suffocate the sacred. You're not blooming. You're breaking history. The dirt wasn't punishment, it was preparation. My child, your glow shattered their graves. You were meant to be impossible, and still happened. They buried a soul. You rose as scripture. My child, even the winds chant your return. You grew like memory, quiet and unstoppable. Every burial became a resurrection rehearsal. They covered your flame, then blamed the dark. My child, they cursed your roots. Heaven blessed them instead. Their silence was your sermon. You didn't break out, you were released. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. They tried to silence you with soil. Now their dreams scream. You weren't gone, just glowing where they couldn't reach. My child, their curse became your soil. You were never lost, just waiting for light to catch up. They buried gold and wept when it rose burning. Your breath made the ground tremble. My child, their hands shook because they felt your glow return. The roots fed on betrayal and bloomed justice. They called it the end. You called it becoming. You didn't rise. You erupted. My child, even their hatred turned fertile beneath you. They thought they buried fear, but it was brilliance. You haunt the soil with softness and fury. Their rage built your cocoon. My child, their dirt sings your name now. They saw stillness, not survival. You didn't resist the dark. You lit it. They mourned too early, you were still becoming. My child, the grave never closed over you. They tried to press you down. The earth let you go. You grew wild because no lie could fence you. My child, you are not a rebirth, you are origin. They planted doubt. You rose in fire. They lost sleep trying to forget your bloom. My child, their effort to bury you rewrote their story. They built a pit. You built a sky. The crack in their plan let your light escape. You didn't resist. You expanded. My child, the ground remembers what they tried to forget. They covered you to stop your rising. It only made you louder. You never disappeared. You grew in silence. They cursed your name into dirt. It blossomed anyway. My child, even the grave grew tired trying to hold you. The silence they buried you in now screams for you. You weren't supposed to bloom. That's why it shook them. My child, your return makes their bones ache. They buried you with intention. But heaven was louder. Your roots cracked the same earth they cursed you in. My child, your light bent the laws they worshipped. They didn't expect the light to carry a name, yours. They broke the ground and called it power. My child, even their darkness fed your flame. You are the glow their shovels couldn't silence. They buried themselves trying to end you. You turned dust into prophecy. My child, your glow made their hands tremble. They told the story wrong. You're still writing it. The grave became a mirror. You didn't rise from them. You rose despite them. My child, your absence scorched more than your presence ever could. They can't look at flowers now without remembering you. You were quiet, but your roots screamed grace. My child, the soil never forgot your scent. They still dream of the light they tried to bury. You grew through silence, into fire. They missed the moment heaven bloomed inside you. My child, they lost favor the moment they touched your light. Their shovels cracked because you were never dirt-bound. You turned their graves into gardens. They underestimated silence backed by spirit. My child, your glow echoes longer than their laughter. Even the dirt softened to your return. Their memory of you grows louder each year. You are the light their shadows can't outrun. My child, their fate splintered when yours rooted. They named it ruin. It spelled your rising. You weren't hidden. You were hallowed. They mourned your end before your start. The silence bore witness to your rebirth. My child, your glow made the pit sacred. You rose because the story was not over. They buried noise. You returned as music. Even death stepped aside for your return. My child, they still check the ground for signs of you. You weren't broken. You were just being carved. Their lies dissolved under your bloom. You are the thorn in their history. My child, their curse couldn't hold what God ignited. They forgot, the buried are often divine. You rose, not for revenge, but for remembrance. Your bloom split their narrative. They buried you, but forgot light makes roots divine. My child, every blow they struck unearthed your brilliance. The deeper they dug, the closer you came to glory. You were never buried. You were being planted. They thought it was your grave, but it became your gateway. My child, they feared your silence, until it split the earth. Every shovel cracked a mirror of their own undoing. They covered your name. Now it burns through stone. You were never meant to stay hidden. My child, even the dirt sang your resurrection. Their hands bled trying to hold you down. They dug graves but met grace. You didn't rise, you revealed. They called it the end. God called it an unveiling. My child, your light poisoned every root of their envy. They thought they killed you, but the ground trembled with your heartbeat. The hole they dug became their own fall. My child, every insult watered your blooming. You shine through layers they swore would smother you. Their dirt held no power against divine flame. You were buried with intention, but you rose with revelation. My child, even your silence grows vines through concrete. The grave rejected you. You carried too much light. They underestimated what heaven placed in the soil. Their burial wasn't darkness, it was divine setup. My child, your name glows under pressure. Every insult they threw made a path for your rising. They thought the world would forget you, but the winds didn't. You weren't erased. You were rerouted. My child, the dust they threw became gold. You didn't rise out of spite, you rose out of sacred memory. Their shovels met holy resistance. They buried you, then cried when flowers grew. My child, your glow cracked their bones in silence. You were hidden, but not helpless. Every time they cursed your name, the ground whispered it back. They pushed you down. You became soil's answer to sky. My child, your spirit bruised the dark they trusted. Their plan was burial. Heaven rewrote it as bloom. Even their cruelty couldn't outdig divine timing. You didn't escape, you expanded. They feared you'd break. Instead, you broke them. My child, your proof dirt can't hold light. Their plot became your platform. You grew roots while they cheered your ruin. Their weapons were shovels. Yours was stillness. My child, even worms carry your scent now. They built your grave shallow, your rising was too loud. You bloomed louder than they buried. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. They forgot, stars are born from pressure and dark. My child, even your burial glowed. The soil remembered your name before they forgot it. They buried you. But God never blinked. Your roots split every lie they whispered. They laughed as they dug. Now they cry in the dark. My child, your rising gave their curses shape. You're not lost, you're layered. They tried to hide gold. But storms reveal. Their silence was not peace, it was fear of your return. My child, they only delayed the inevitable, your bloom. They mistook darkness for defeat. Even buried, you outshined their entire sky. They sowed control. You became wildfire. You didn't just rise. You returned with roots. My child, your quiet cracked their confidence. Every shove uncovered your future. They whispered lies. But the earth coughed truth. You weren't covered. You were being crowned. My child, your silence built altars. They tossed you in dirt. But it fed your vision. Their downfall began when they tried to cover your light. You lit the ground from underneath. My child, they covered you in dust, you turned it to breath. Their fear buried you. Your light unearthed them. You didn't fight back. You became too bright to bury. My child, they never knew what they planted. Their mistake wasn't burial. It was underestimating what slept in you. Even your stillness felt like thunder to them. My child, their fate broke on your rising. They made space for your miracle without knowing. You burned from beneath the grave. Their silence didn't end you, it echoed your name. My child, the roots fed on their hate and bloomed grace. Every scoop of dirt revealed more of you. They saw stillness and assumed surrender. The sky wept the day they buried you. My child, they made you soil. God made you sacred. You rose without vengeance, but the earth remembers. They buried you early. You rose timeless. They planted you like failure. You sprouted like fire. My child, your glow turned their hands to ash. Every crack they made became your window. Their hatred became compost for your glory. You didn't fight dirt, you made it sing. My child, they didn't bury you. They exposed themselves. You were always rising. They were just too loud to notice. The deeper they pushed, the brighter you became. Even darkness held its breath when you began to rise. My child, even your roots were holy. You cracked the curse from underground. They cursed you quietly, but you rose shouting. Your bloom made their curses taste bitter. My child, they lost peace the moment you sprouted. They tried to forget you. But the ground whispers you nightly. The shovel cracked. You didn't. My child, they broke their own luck burying yours. They called it failure. But it became your sanctuary. You rose because the silence made room. My child, they feared the second coming of your joy. Their laughter turned to echoes once you grew past the dirt. You were born for this burial, for the bloom after. My child, you haunt the ground they hid you in. They covered you, but couldn't dim the glow from within. Their grave became your beginning. You didn't grow despite them. You grew because heaven demanded it. My child, they thought you were alone underground. But light found you first. Every inch they pushed you down, you gained heaven. You cracked them from beneath. They whispered curses into soil, but you rose, dripping grace. My child, they buried themselves in the process. Even their darkness bowed to your roots. The ground lifted you as its offering. They thought they won. But the ground groaned your return. My child, their hate made you heavier with glory. You don't owe them the bloom. But bloom anyway. They buried a soul. They raised a reckoning. My child, the dirt never dimmed your flame. You didn't rise to prove. You rose to be. They felt powerful, but their shovels were fragile. You didn't shatter. You broke open. My child, the deeper they pushed, the louder heaven wept. They watched flowers grow where they expected rot. The earth testified your name before your mouth did. My child, even the worms danced at your glow. They buried you with prayers they never meant. You shine through stone like memory through silence. My child, their fear fertilized your legend. You rose. And the soil remembered. They forgot, nothing buried by force stays still. My child, their grip failed because light cannot be clenched. You haunted the garden they tried to erase. They planted grief. You became grace. The more they pushed, the brighter your roots hummed. My child, your rising is their reckoning. The light they buried split the sky. Their hands were full of dirt. Yours, full of dawn. My child, they lost peace when your name cracked the ground. You rose without sound. And it shook the earth. If this touched your soul, don't scroll, like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more.